Okay, let's talk about food cravings. Have you ever really stopped to think about what they're trying to tell you? We're going to dive into the hidden messages behind them, and I think you'll be surprised to find out that a lot of the time, it has almost nothing to do with being hungry.
So, you know that feeling, right? You're not actually hungry. Like, your stomach isn't rumbling or anything, but bam, out of nowhere, you're hit with this super intense craving. It's got to be something specific, right? Maybe chocolate or salty chips or something really spicy. I mean, we've all been there.
Well, here's the big idea we're exploring today. When that happens, it's not your stomach calling the shots. Nope, it's your emotions. Think of it like a signal. Something inside you is trying to solve a problem. And food? Well, food is just the fastest, easiest tool in the toolbox. And that's why it's so powerful to reframe this. Stop thinking of them as just random, annoying urges. Instead, think of them as clues, little messages from your inner emotional world. And if we can learn to read those clues, oh man, our relationship with food and honestly with ourselves is going to start making so much more sense. Okay, so how does this connection actually work? Like what's happening in our brains? Let's get into the science of it, the real science of comfort food. So it all boils down to this psychological concept called emotional regulation. It sounds fancy, but it's pretty simple. Whenever we feel stressed or lonely or sad, just completely drained, our brain kind of goes into this emergency problem-solving mode. Its one job? Find the fastest way to make us feel better. Now. And what's the fastest way to do that? You guessed it. Often, it's food. And there's a whole cycle to it. So first, stress hits. Your brain immediately starts scrambling for relief. And notice I said the fastest relief, not the best one. That's when food enters the picture. You eat something and boom, it triggers your brain's reward system. You get a little hit of feel-good chemicals like dopamine. And just like that, you feel a bit of comfort. It's temporary for sure, but that's the key. Your brain wasn't looking for a forever solution, just a right now fix.
But here's a really interesting wrinkle, right? Not everyone reacts this way. I'm sure you know someone, or maybe this is you, who gets super stressed and just completely loses their appetite. The thought of food is the last thing on their mind. So what's the deal with that?
It's basically two different reactions to the exact same stress. So for some people, their nervous system gets so overloaded that it just hits the off switch on hunger. They might feel kind of numb or disconnected, and the idea of eating just feels like too much effort. Their brain is all in on emotional survival, not digestion. But for others, food is the complete opposite. It's grounding. Their brain has learned over time that food equals relief, that food equals comfort, so it makes that the number one priority.
And this is so, so important to remember. Neither of these reactions is better or worse. They're just different. They're both coping strategies. Exactly, like two sides of the same emotional coin. There is absolutely no judgment here, just observation.
All right, so now that we've got the why down, let's have some fun with the what. It's time to play detective and start decoding the flavors. What is that craving for something sweet or salty or spicy really trying to tell you? Here's a cool way to think about it. Flavors are like emotional shortcuts. They have this amazing ability to tap right into specific feelings and soothe them, sometimes without us even realizing what feeling we were having in the first place. Okay, let's break down some of the most common ones. That craving for something sweet, it's often a signal that you're needing some care, some comfort. What about spicy? Well, that could be a call for more intensity in your life, or maybe it's the opposite, a way to feel something when you're feeling kind of numb. And that classic gotta have it urge for salty chips? So often that's linked to stress and total burnout. And hey, even a taste for bitter foods can tell us something, maybe about a willingness to sit with more complex feelings. And what's so cool is there's real science backing this up. Sweet foods can actually help boost serotonin activity in your brain. That explains that warm, fuzzy feeling. Spicy foods, they trigger endorphins, which are literally the body's natural painkillers. Isn't that wild? And get this, for salty cravings, chronic stress and not getting enough sleep can actually lower your body's sodium levels. So that craving is a real physical signal. Bitter is a little different though. That one's usually a learned taste, so it's more of a pattern than a biological rule. Okay, so this all brings us to the most important question, really, the big one. What is the real hunger here? What are we actually trying to satisfy? It's time to look beyond the food.
And I have to say this because it's super important.
None of this is about diagnosing yourself or slapping on a label. Seriously, this is not about feeling guilty or judging yourself for eating emotionally. Not at all. Think of it as an invitation to just get curious and start noticing your own patterns without any judgment. So here's a really powerful question you can ask yourself in the moment. Am I enjoying this or am I escaping with this? There's a huge difference, right? When you're truly enjoying food, you're there for it. You're mindful, you're savoring the taste, and afterwards you feel satisfied. But when you're using it to escape, you're usually distracted, you're rushing, you might barely even notice what it tastes like. And the telltale sign? You still feel emotionally empty at the end, even if you're stuffed.
And this right here, this is the absolute heart of the matter. The food isn't the problem. The avoiding of our emotions is the problem. It only becomes an issue when food is the only coping skill we reach for when things get tough.
So by starting to pay attention to these cravings, you're not trying to fight them or willpower your way through them. You're just getting curious. And that curiosity, that understanding, that is the first, most powerful step toward finding what actually helps. Finding more direct and honestly, more satisfying ways to give yourself what you truly need. So I want to leave you with a little challenge. The next time one of those strong, out-of-the-blue cravings hits you, just for a second, before you do anything else, pause and ask yourself this one simple question. What do I really need in this moment? Maybe it's a 5-minute break from your computer. Maybe it's a quick text to a friend. Or maybe it's just taking a single deep breath. The answer isn't always in the pantry, and when you find what it really is, it's almost always so much more satisfying.